All gameplay footage of Hyperdimension Neptunia producing perfection belongs to WanderingWlf. You can check out his channel in the description box below. Also, Attention is a song which is owned by Charlie Puth, Jacob Cashier, and Atlantic Records. Please support the official release. Thanks for listening and enjoy the video. Man, that's gotta buy a little bit. Oh, hello and welcome to the Delmar Show. You could probably tell I got a little bit scratched up around my face and a little sore in some places, and yeah, it was an awkward morning for me. I decided to do something different during my days off. Most of the time I'm usually playing games, editing videos, watching dumb stuff on YouTube. But today I decided to do something different. I decided to go outside and walk for a little bit. It was fun for the most part. I was exercising really good and enjoying some good sunshine. But that all changed after I almost ran over a young goose, and you can probably tell what happened afterwards as to very violent creatures. Ugh, it's scary to think about the violent creatures, especially since years ago when I did that E-Fleet video. But we're not talking about young gooses or animals attacking. Today we're going to talk about, well, what's behind me, Neptunia. For the 12th time, I've made so many videos because I absolutely love the Neptunia series. And with the announcement of Super Neptunia RPG, I figured I'd try to speed up a bit, trying to get catched up with the latest of the Neptunia series. Granted, this is not really chronological with the main series, but I have a lot of games to catch up, not including the ports and remakes and so on. So today we're going to talk about the first of the Neptunia spin-offs, as well as the first Neptunia game on the Vita, Hyperdimension Neptunia producing perfection. I was curious a few months ago by the fan community, seeing which games that people consider the best out of the Neptunia series and which ones are the weakest in terms of some people. And by looking at comment sections and videos when people are showcasing gameplay or even elements of producing perfection, I've seen some people being very mixed about it. Some people find it confusing, don't know how it's going to be played. Some people calling it boring, and others just call it crap. It got me very curious to try this out. Not only is it the first of the many spin-off titles for the Neptunia series, but I just think it'll be pretty interesting and fun, and see what kind of jokes they could crack on the whole idle game industry and all that. So let's just go ahead and jump right into producing perfection and see if I like it or about it. I wouldn't say hate, because I haven't really found a game that I personally hate so much, but that's another story. But for a brief moment, I want to talk about the PlayStation Vita for a bit. I will admit, when I first heard about the Vita, I wasn't really expecting much. I didn't really have any expectations at all. I did have a PlayStation Portable, well, it was my brother's, and I only played one game on a Daxter, and it was fun, though the one thing I didn't like about the PSP is the circle pad wasn't really that great. I kept losing my thumb while trying to play it. But the Vita looked really nifty, I have to say. The only issue was, over the course of time ever since the system was launched, very rarely would people even mention the Vita. Heck, Sony barely or even at all acknowledges the Vita or even mention it during E3 and stuff like that. And it's a shame, because I kind of compared a little bit with the Wii U. It's a great system, has some great features, and even has some great games on it. The problem is it wasn't advertised that well, and publishers didn't really feel like making games for those systems. Or at least that's my comparison. And in terms of the Vita, there's not really a whole lot of first-party titles compared to the Wii U. But the system itself, I think, is really spot on. It feels great, really comfortable to play games on. I love the UI interface. I also love the touchscreen itself. It works, it just feels great touching stuff and navigating menus. It's really fun. And again, unlike the PSP where the circle pad made my thumb a bit numb and kind of loose at times, it just feels so great clicking the buttons, and I love the power save feature. It works spectacularly. So I do recommend to some people to at least give it a shot. I'm not saying immediately go buy at it, just look at the games library, because again, the game library isn't exactly the best on a Vita, but I think it's still a really fun little system, and I feel bad for the support, because with the fact Sony barely mentions that at all, it's a bit of a downer. Again, it's just a great handheld system overall, and I am planning on playing more games for it, definitely. But enough about the Vita, let's go ahead and talk about Producing Perfection. Once again, it's a spin-off title and is non-canon to any of the games. It takes place in its little own dimension, which I'm gonna call the idle dimension. In game industry, all the CPUs are losing shares and followers fast, as an idol group known as Mob 48 has taken all the shares in game industry. To try and regain their shares and followers, the CPUs must become idols themselves, but don't know how to. Thus, they summon a great idol producer from a dimension far, far away. And who will this mystical producer be? Me. And you? And a dog named Blue. No, I'm not kidding. You can actually be in a game. You can put yourself within this character, who is you practically, a typical person in the real world who's about to do a gaming marathon session during the summer, but instead gets sucked into game industry to become the idol producer of Neptune, Vert, Blonde, and Noir. And yup, there's my name on the game screen, Delmar. I'm officially a Neptunia character. I'm so honored. It's actually pretty cool to really project myself into the series. I was a little bit worried of how the writing of your character was gonna be, but luckily he has just enough character, or at least enough space to project yourself within and to imagine yourself within these scenarios with the cast. And I love the fact that the game was able to make you, even though you are supposed to be a producer helping the CPUs become perfect idols, it's fun to see moments where you can actually be included in the chaos as well of all everyday actions within game industry. In fact, that's probably the thing I should mention about the story. If you're expecting this to be a thrilling, action-packed, character-building game, don't expect that. This is more or less a slice-of-life game where you interact with the characters in day-to-day activities and see the shenanigans going on. And even though we have an enemy in the game, Mob 48, you don't even see like any of the members. There may be like one cutscene where you see that one of the members is either a horsebird or a doggo. The purpose of the story isn't to have a thrilling action story that has high character building, but just a fun excuse to get you interact with the CPUs and be part of the chaos with them. It's a slice of life game, which isn't that bad. I love slice of life games and movies. It's just, you don't have to make a game action packed all the time. Sometimes just being with fun characters and fun scenarios is enough. So don't take the game seriously. Though I guess if I had to have one flaw within this slice of life game, is that one of the characters, 5PB, I'm surprised isn't in the game. It would have been cool to see 5PB kind of interacting as an idol herself. It would be perfect for her to give advice or have fun little cutscenes where she's interacting with, like, say if she has a bad time with one of the Mob 48 members or something. I think it would have been fun to include her in the series being an idol herself. But beggars can't be choosers. It's just a fun little excuse to hang out with the cast, that's all. Though before we get to the gameplay, I do want to mention a couple of odds and ends in. For one, visually this game looks good. It's not anything that's gonna push the Vita to its limits, but the game runs pretty smoothly, I have to say. And one thing I noticed about the game is that the lip syncing is actually done better in this one. With MK2 and Victory, I noticed that the lip syncing wasn't that good, but here the lip syncing works better, and the voice cast is always the best part. The game mostly plays with the touchscreen, and it works pretty well, I have to say. Then again, like I said, the PSV Vita has a pretty good touchscreen, even rivaling that to the Switch in my opinion. And one more thing is that there are songs. With it being a rhythm game, there's gonna be Japanese songs, and all of them are really good. My personal favorite being Fly High. It's such a catchy and very uplifting song, and I do like it. And I had the song stuck in my head for a long while, which is good, I appreciate that. The previous song was stuck in my head for many months. Charlie Booth's Attention. It's a great song, I love the song, but it got stuck in my head that it just got so old hearing that song over and over stuck in my head. It doesn't help the fact that the song has such a great bass. Oh, that bass. It is so funky. Yes, I said funky, shut up. But now let's get to the gameplay aspect, which I know a lot of people, when I looked up info or reading comments about producing perfection, I noticed that there was a lot of confusion of like what the gameplay was. Is it rhythm? Is it simulation? Is it a visual novel? It's kind of a mixture of both. More specifically, it's a simulation rhythm game. More or less simulation, but we'll get into that here in a bit. There are a few different modes. You got producer mode, which is the main story campaign. Unlimited concert mode is where you can prepare your own concerts at your own pace. Not for points or anything, just a little, if you want to have like a fun little concert, you can just set it up to do so. And then you got viewer mode, where you can set up 3D models of the characters circle around, and with the touchscreen, you can like boop them on the head, just boop their head over and over. With producer mode, you get to choose between 4 different characters: Neptune, Vert, Noir, and Blonde. The goal of the game is to gain the most shares within 180 days. Within each day, you choose one of the different activities to raise your CPU stats. For example, if you want to have a lesson with the CPU to help raise the vocals and whatnot, you choose lessons and press vocals, and then you see them raise the stat with a little cute cutscene here and there. And then, yeah, that's a day. It goes by quick. So it may seem like you may not have enough days, but trust me, if you do really good, you'll be able to beat their playthrough in under 80 days. And there's different options to choose from. Work will help increase your number of fans that will appear in your concerts. Lessons will increase your CPU stats, such as rhythm, knowledge, vocals. Relax will help lower your CPU stress from doing lessons and work, because if you overwork your CPU, for one, it will decrease the CPU's confidence, and well, when they hit the full anger level, they will be very cross with you. So you gotta balance out the stress, that way the confidence is up pretty good. Some scenarios you can chit chat with other CPUs, you can have them take a nice vacation which will take 3 days from your time, or increase your affection. We'll get to that here in just a little bit. And then you got move, which just moves you to another landmass. This is actually pretty fun to do. I love balancing the CPU's stats, such as making sure they have enough knowledge and vocals to do well in concerts and increase fan awareness, but also trying to make sure to not have the stress level go all out and weaken their confidence a bit. It's actually really fun to do, and seeing the little cutscenes here there can be pretty fun and interesting. Earlier I mentioned you can increase the CPU's affection rating. The CPUs and the CPU candidates have affection ratings. This is like the trust ranking, where they trust you a lot more and will try to perform better for you. And the affection rating actually helps pretty well in one gameplay aspect. If you talk to CPU more than enough and raise their affection rating more, you can actually help them to join your group. You can even make a duo or a trio. And one thing I really love about this is that if you create a duo or a trio, then you can actually make a new band name with that. I actually created the band NepBoxDS, and let's just say it's pretty awesome. But even though it can be fun doing that, if you do for so long, let's say for example, once you get done with Neptune's playthrough and you jump to Noir and Blonde, it can be a little bit dull, a little bit repetitive doing. Even with the fun cutscenes, it can get a little bit stale after doing it for so long. I also forgot to mention that each CPU has 3 different endings: a good, normal, and bad ending. And with the fact that you have 4 characters with 3 endings, that means you have to play the game 12 times in order to unlock all the endings. And if you try doing that, it can get pretty stale fairly quickly, especially once you do the bad and good ending and you see the cutscenes so many times. It can get pretty stale, I have to say. Though if I had to choose my least favorite part about this game are the concerts. The concerts are poorly done. They're not that fun to do. I don't really like doing the concerts at all, even with the catchy songs and whatnot. In fact, speaking of songs, before I get into the concerts, there's really only 4 songs you can choose from with the CPUs to perform concerts. There is a 5th song, but you get that when you do a good ending or true ending and whatnot. The final day before you unlock the last cutscene. And with the fact that with 4 songs and then playing the game multiple times, you'll get kind of stale with the songs a little bit. But anyway, let's talk about the concerts. When you think of a concert game, you'll probably think of something like Dance Dance Revolution or the Miku Miku games, where it's like a rhythm game pressing a button at a specific time and whatnot. Not really. First you do the basics. You can select a song to have the CPU sing. You can also select a stage, which there are 8 different stages. Choose a specific costume and yuck for the CPU, as well as the CPU forms. But then we get to the part where the CPU is singing. And this is my least favorite part of all. Instead of pressing buttons to make sure the CPU is dancing well, you direct the lighting and the effect cues. Stage points and audience satisfaction will change depending on your skill. You got 3 different options in terms of effects and lighting, and you can change them before you play the concert. But again, it's just not that engaging. Even though you can control the camera, and when you play the effects and lighting good, the audience rating will boost pretty significantly, but it's not that interactive. I appreciate the idea of using stage effects and lighting as points. It works well, but I think in the execution, it doesn't leave much replayability and very little player inactivity. The only thing you could do is just mess about with the camera and that's it. So it's kind of easy to see why some people don't like it, because there's not really a whole lot of player interactivity with it. I think what probably would have helped, aside from it being like a simple rhythm game where you press the button at the right time, if, like, say, when your CPU develops abilities better, you can unlock little shortcuts to help you in challenging button combinations or whatnot, or something in that line that probably would have been more engaging for a player. And also maybe some more variety songs, because again, only 4 songs to choose from and 1 bonus for at the very end of the good and true ending. You can get pretty boring having to hear the songs over and over again, even if they are good. And once again, 12 playthroughs. Even though that sounds a lot, each playthrough doesn't take that long per se, but it will make the whole game much more stale if you're going for a complete trophy list on the PlayStation Vita. So is this my least favorite Neptunia game? Well, keep in mind as well, I've played only the original PlayStation 3 games and haven't touched all the others yet, so I still got a long way to go. But it is my least favorite Neptunia game I've played so far. But I'm not that angry at the game, I'm really not. There are some good aspects that I do love about the game. For one, I love the whole slice of life story type of idea where you can put yourself within the game and be part of the fun and insaneness with the CPU characters. Being able to hang out with Noir or Blonde for a day and stuff and just have fun with the game. And the writing itself is always the best part of any Neptunia game. Seeing the characters interact and the fun jokes and nods they have to video games is always a good time. And the awesome stuff I did like about the gameplay, like being able to help make sure your CPU stats are good, having to make sure the stress doesn't raise up and make sure the confidence boost is really fun to manage at times. It really is. I think the best way to really view this game is this. If you're an extreme completionist, you love completing games, being able to get all the costumes, all the stages unlocked, being able to get all the trophies within the game, this is not for you, sadly. It will get very repetitive for you if you go that route. However, if you're someone like me who's casually playing it, like you're not playing a whole long session, you're playing like for a good hour and a half with one CPU, then you come back to it a few days later and you play some more. You casually playing it, not play super long challenges, just casually playing it, enjoying a good time and having fun. You might enjoy it. It's not going to be for everybody, I know. Some people will love a game with more challenge and more play input in it. And some will love a more compelling story instead of a slice of life type game. I get it. But I did enjoy it. I'm not going to see myself replaying this over and over and over again. But a nice little fun game to sit around for a while and have some fun laughs with the characters. It's not that bad. I did enjoy it. And that's all the time we have for today, folks. So if you would like to leave your thoughts on today's game, just comment below. And if you want to get Producing Perfection, it's pretty easy to find. It's not available in Steam, unlike the other PS Vita games. As well, this was one of the last games that NISA America helped published for Complahot and Idea Factory, as well as the fact that you have to use the touchscreens, which you can't really do on PC. But you can still easily find it. It was like $15 on the PS Store, which I think is still that price, I believe. I can't remember. And you probably also noticed that this is the PAL region version of the game instead of the North American. Well, I ordered this off Amazon and they gave me this. However, one thing I love about the Vita, it is region free, so you can play games from Japan, Europe, Mongolia if you have to. And yeah, that's really cool to know. The one thing I did not like about Amazon, they gave me a copy that has a huge freaking sticker on the back. Like, that is just, oh, I mean, yes, GameStop and other stores, they have stickers on the corner, but this is too much, man. It makes me angry. Why am I smiling? I should be angry for some reason. Son of a cheesecake. Grr. And now if you excuse me, I think I'm gonna probably go for the park a bit. Hopefully I won't get mangled by wild John Gooses and everything. That, and I'm in a mood to do something I haven't done in years. Hold on, I'll be back. No sign of him.
I know that dress is karma, perfume regret. You got me thinking about when you were mine. Ooh. And now I'm all up on you, what you expect. But you're not coming home with me tonight. You just want attention, you don't want my heart. Baby, you just hate the thought of me with someone new. Yeah, you just want attention. I knew from the start, you're just making sure I'm never getting over you. What are you doing to me? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing to me? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to step. No, don't go. Why do I keep doing that to him? Oh well. Hopefully it won't take it too hard or something. Hello?
君の隣にいられるのなら怖い気持ち吹き飛んじゃうまだ幼い